Hello, everyone. I am super excited to be here today with Kruger to talk to you guys about something that many women, including me, have struggled with for a long time, and that is stubborn belly fat. What I have learned lately from Kruger's program is that the key is not about counting calories or certain workouts. It's actually natural hormone optimization. So I'm going to share just a little bit of my story and my background before we jump in with Chris. I have been battling stubborn belly fat since puberty, like since high school, since puberty, my whole life. I have never actually been like significantly overweight, but almost never had like a flat stomach. And it's always been something that I've been a little self-conscious about. After my third baby, I actually did do calorie counting for like a year, and I did achieve mostly a flat stomach, but I was skinny. I wasn't strong, and it wasn't sustainable. I'm not going to count my calories for the rest of my life. So as soon as I stopped counting those calories, the belly fat came back. It was just not sustainable. And honestly, like I didn't really love my physique with that either. In order to get that physique, I tried everything. I tried CrossFit. I tried hot yoga. I did bar. I even trained for a marathon, and I hate running. And I did not like the way I looked when I was training for the marathon either. I was just trying everything I could, but nothing really gave me the body that I wanted, which was a strong and lean, honestly, like a dancer-like physique. I told Chris that on our initial call. I was like, I want my body to look like a dancer, visible muscle, lean with visible muscle. So moving on, I cleaned up my diet, probably like starting in like 2020. I cleaned up my diet. I cut out all ultra processed foods. I focused on real nutrient dense foods, and that helped a lot. I would say that probably got me like 80% of the way there. I felt better. I looked healthier, but I still didn't have like the definition that I really wanted. And I was still struggling with terrible PMS symptoms. So ever since my third child, I've had terrible PMS symptoms like laying down in bed with a headache, can't function, bad. And then this year I heard Chris on Peak Human podcast with Brian Sanders, and he was talking about hormones and how specifically how hormone imbalances can contribute to stubborn belly fat. I was like, that's it. That's what I need. And I knew I had bad PMS symptoms and I had stubborn belly fat. So within a week, I was working with Chris. I knew that that's exactly what I needed. And now 3 months later, I am stronger. I have visible abs that I have always wanted. But the best part is those horrible PMS symptoms are gone, completely gone. And so, Chris, I know that your client list is completely full right now. He's not taking on any clients at the moment. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this live, to share some of this incredible information that helped me, because I know that it can feel really confusing and overwhelming when you feel like you're doing everything right and you're still not seeing results. So hormones feel mysterious, and today we're going to break that down, and we're going to help some people understand where to start if they want to start optimizing their hormones naturally and finally lose that stubborn belly fat. So Chris, I'm excited you're here. Thank you for joining me. For anybody who doesn't know you yet, can you do just like a brief introduction? I know we did this last time, so just a brief introduction, and then start explaining a bit about what natural hormone optimization actually means and where to start.
Okay, well, my name is Chris Kruger. I'm a 42-year-old dad. I have an 8-week-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. So we're still in this like newborn phase with my son. I really got into health and fitness because like my whole childhood, starting at 6th grade, my dad was like dying of cancer until he actually died when I was a senior in high, or just after my senior year, while I was still 18 years old. And so where I actually got involved in hormone optimization, I was doing all the things that Anne described earlier, all that hard stuff. Like, I'm going to try to eat less and move more, which is really the only thing the fitness industry has to offer, right? We're going to eat less, move more. It's all stress and scarcity, right? Scarcity, you're eating less. Stress, you're moving more. You got to keep doing that to create the calorie deficit so we can finally lose the weight. And it just always takes you to this unsustainable place, not just because you don't want to, count calories anymore or have smaller and smaller and smaller portions every time you eat, but it's really unsustainable because just doing that stress and that scarcity of attempting that model is crashing your hormones, is driving up the hormones that cause that ravenous hunger. And so when we crash our hormones, we drive up our hunger, and we are also draining our willpower down, and we are slowing down our metabolism, right? Poof, the calorie deficit disappears. You want to eat less and move more for a 500 calorie deficit. Well, your body wants to be in homeostasis. And so it's not until we flip that script and have a paradigm of joy and abundance that is looking specifically to optimize our hormones that we're ever going to possibly get there? And so, yeah, throughout my 20s, I wanted to be the healthy guy and I was doing that stuff. And at 30 years old, I just felt like my testosterone was crashed. I was unmotivated. I knew the things I was supposed to do to get into shape and I just didn't want to do them anymore. Like, oh, I'm supposed to go to the gym. Oh, I'm supposed to eat these meals. I didn't want to do it. And so the reason I was getting in shape, that I wanted to get in great shape at that moment, was actually for my wedding, right? These pictures that last a lifetime. But, I feel like there's a lot of brides that are more into how they look in those pictures. But I went out, I put the tux on, I looked decent. And then for my honeymoon in Hawaii, I'm sitting in a hot tub on the North Shore of Hawaii. And I'm like, does my testosterone keep crashing? Like, what's up with my hormones? Because I looked at everyone older than me that had, you would call results, and they were all on drugs, they're all on steroids, they're all taking TRT. And then everyone that was younger than me was younger than me. Well, I used to be younger. Sure, I was in shape back then. And it's always a variation of hormone. And so I just thought, well, hey, if I could naturally optimize my own hormones, I could have great results again. And so there were a bunch of ideas that didn't pan out and some false starts. But when I really started dialing it in about the lifestyle, and the magic and that is that when we dial it in about lifestyle, yeah, diet and exercise is included, but it's like the last 20%. And so everyone in the fitness industry wants to make diet and exercise everything. And they can argue, oh, it's 50% diet and it's 50% exercise. No, abs are made in the kitchen. It's 70% or 90% diet and only 10 or 30%. It's all nonsense. It's your daily lifestyle. And you got to wrap in the diet and the exercise. But what's so amazing is when the lifestyle is on point, is you actually get to relax the diet and enjoy cuisine. Like, cuisine is a huge part of being human. You can never eat a pizza again. For the rest of your life, all of your meals will come served to you in Tupperware. And you'll spend every Sunday, what is that the bodybuilders do? Meal prepping. You will meal prep every Sunday, all 49 of your meals for the next week. And it's like, I don't want to do any of that. I want the lifestyle that is simple and easy and sustainable and feels great. And I would never want to go back to anything I was doing again because the results are better. This is simpler. And when you boil it down, it's actually easier.
Way more
and that's why,
easy.
You look at your glow up and it's like, Ann, would you ever want to go back to doing things the old way again?
No, absolutely not.
Well, there we go. We just won the game of health and fitness and physique and everything else.
So I have someone has already asked a question and they were asking, like, if they don't have PMS symptoms, how do you know if your hormones are imbalanced? What besides bad PMS symptoms can indicate that you have a hormone balance issue?
Unless you are looking in the mirror and you absolutely love what you see, you're like, hey, I'm the right size. I've got all of this abundant fitness, right? Like, Ann, when you started with me, you could only do, how do I have a way that I like to phrase this now that I tell people. When Ann started with me, she couldn't do 3 push-ups, which is a nice way of saying she could barely do 2 push-ups.
Yeah.
And so if you can barely do 2 push-ups, your hormones aren't where they need to be, right? If you are not strong and lean and feeling empowered and confident and optimistic, like those feelings, and I always say this, if you don't feel the feelings, you can't be surprised because you don't have those hormones, right?
Yeah.
You can't expect to feel the optimism and the self-worth and the confidence that are products of hormones that your body is not producing abundantly.
Yeah.
And
I know for my husband, it was that stubborn belly fat. That's another thing that got me in that Peak Human podcast because he had an extremely healthy diet. He worked out all the time. He does CrossFit stuff. And for the last 10, 15 years, he had that stubborn belly fat. And we're like, why? I don't understand because he's got the diet, he's got the exercise. Why is this happening? And also it's the stress and the lower testosterone and all of that contributing to it. It's not just about what you eat and how you exercise. And that was so eye-opening for me.
And so to answer that question, I'd say, unless you are getting up in the morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, full of energy, ready to crush the day and loving everything about the person you see in the mirror, we can definitely upgrade your hormones, right? And so that's virtually everyone, right?
Or like hunger throughout the day or low libido, all these things are all hormone related.
Yes, if you don't look and feel the way that you want to look and feel, it's your hormones because these are the master switches on everything.
Yeah.
So how do you control those master switches? It's just your daily lifestyle. And yes, the food, the diet is a piece of that. And sure, exercise is a piece of that because really the number one master hormone of them all that everyone has to kind of get in line and follow is your insulin. And so there are things that we have to do to modulate your insulin, but there's this other hormone hormone sensitive lipase. So it's a hormone that's sensitive to other hormones. But lip is like the Greek for lipid, right? So it's ACE, it's the enzyme that breaks that thing down. So the enzyme that actually breaks down your lipids, your fat, is hormone sensitive. Well, it's sensitive to your insulin. And so insulin is not the bad guy. It's not the boogeyman. It's not the reason you got pre-diabetes or diabetes. It's just the one that is the master builder. And we're going to control with our lifestyle whether insulin is going to build our muscles, good thing, or if insulin is going to build our body fat. And so many of us, the whole audience out there, probably 99% of the world as I spin around here, is living a lifestyle where insulin builds their body fat instead of their muscles. And
So
that's why we don't have the results, and that's why we feel miserable.
exactly. So where do people start? What's your like, okay, this I understand. I got to get this insulin under control. It's all about the hormones. It feels overwhelming. What's the first step for people? Let's give them something practical.
Yeah, well, I would say there's all sorts of different places we could start, but how about we just start with a great meal that nourishes you and triggers GLP-1. And so GLP-1 is your glucagon-like peptide number one. This is the real Ozempic, right? Ozempic is a GLP-1 agonist baloney homie. You do not want to put yourself on Ozempic. That's crazy. What you want to do is just sit down and enjoy an incredible meal where you're not stuffed, right? Being stuffed is a bad option. Being stuffed is like, oh, we went out to the all-you-can-eat pizza place and, 90 minutes later I waddled out and I couldn't eat one more bite of pizza. We don't want to eat till we're stuffed.
Right.
But so many of us, because of the foods we're eating, we end up eating till we're stuffed. Or what's an even worse option is, well, I'm supposed to diet, so I'm going to only eat till I'm 80% full. Guess what? If you eat till you're 80% full, you will quickly feel like you're starving again, and you will
You're
want to
still
eat
hungry.
more and more. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
literally still hungry as we're talking.
Yeah.
We don't want to eat till we're stuffed. We definitely don't want to like drain all of our willpower. And so to be 80% of stuffed, what we want to do is shut your hunger off. And there's meals that we can sit down to twice a day, 3 times a day that will entirely shut your hunger off. And what's so funny is I always tell women in my onboarding call, and you know this, in the onboarding call, it's kind of like we're trying to get all the pieces to the game up on the game board, and then we have to arrange it around your life. But I'll say, hey, the right answer for you is probably 2 or 3 meals per day. But I'm guessing it's probably going to be, it's going to end up being 2. Like, I don't know, Chris, I've been eating like 5 meals a day or 3 meals and 2 snacks or 4, like whatever. Like, I don't know if I could make it to where I'm just eating 2 meals a day. And then I have them eat my Kruger body meals, my hormone optimizing meals.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, Chris, there's, I know it's time for me to eat that 3rd meal, but there's no way I want to.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're stuffed, it's that they're no longer hungry. And that's because you have triggered that natural Ozempic hormone and you feel great. You feel like you can finally move on to using all that brain power for something else.
Yeah. 2 meals
Right?
a day is the sweet spot for me. And I have so much more time in my day when I'm not cooking another meal and cleaning up after another meal. Like it's a lot of freedom and I'm not even hungry in the middle of the day. It's great.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, we'll get there where it's like, okay, well, let's do breakfast and lunch to start. It's like, of course, there's no way I could eat dinner. And then you get to do breakfast and dinner, or however we got to like arrange your day so that it works with your real life, right? Okay, for you, it's like, I'm a homeschool mom. I'm going to put up some cool reels. I'm going to do this. JP gets home at this time, whatever. Like all of that stuff goes into your real life that we have to plan around. There's no program that's ever going to work that is one size fits all because everyone's days are different. And so, the thing that it's going to take Anne to optimize her hormones, yeah, it might be similar to that, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about what those meals look like.
Okay. It really depends on the person here. This is why I don't want it to be one size fits all, but I always say we want to think of food on this spectrum. So it's not that things are good or bad, right? Like the vegans like plant foods are great and meat is murder, right? Not helpful. You gave me 2 categories. Not helpful.
Yeah.
But also carnivore bro is like, yeah, you're totally wrong, vegan, right? Plants are poison and meat is the most nutritious food on the planet. Okay, fine. Or paleo guys like, well, these are processed and those are unprocessed. All we care about is what's going to be helpful for you, the specific individual, getting to your goals. And so let's take average gal who's a little overweight, right? 5'5", like 170. And maybe 130 would be the perfect number for her. So we want to have foods, and how does food come? Like on plate, we want to have plates of food. We want to have meals that are going to move her towards 130 consistently instead of towards 230 consistently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? All the food exists on that spectrum of things that are helping you get there and helping you get there faster, and then things that are not helping you or helping taking you away from your goals. But almost everyone, and that you're going to talk to is where they are and they're stuck, right?
Yeah.
And I just spoke to a woman yesterday. It's like, yeah, these are like the real numbers we were talking about, right? Oh yeah, I've just been stuck at 170, 175 for a year, right? And she had been heavier, and she's like, I went fully carnivore and low carb, and I got this far, and I've been stuck here for a year. She's still carnivore, still low carb, but now she's got no energy and losing her hair, but she's been like the discipline to be full carnivore for a year and not move, the frustration of that, the disappointment of that. Instead of buying into any one of these dogmas, we just have to ask what is going to be helpful to move that person towards their goals. A lot in this situation, right? Well, we got to have complete protein because we got to trigger our GLP-1, our natural Ozempic hormone. So we should probably have that in every meal. And so that's, you got to think of that, repair and rebuild and actually grow your muscles. We got to have protein to do that. We're going to have that at every meal to trigger the GLP-1, to shut the hunger off. We also want to reload, or we could say refuel and rehydrate your muscles. And so what macronutrient does that? We know the protein is going to rebuild, repair the muscles. The macronutrient that's going to rehydrate them and refuel them, actually put the glycogen back into the muscles and also help us modulate that number one builder hormone, the insulin, is actually, get ready to gasp.
I did.
Carbohydrates.
Yeah.
I say that to so many women, like, no, Chris, I've got to eat carbs. That's so stupid. But I lost 30 pounds doing keto. And what about the next 30 pounds? There's so many people, men and women, that get stuck. And, people are like, but I've heard all about ketosis, or that one time that I did the keto diet, or the one time I did the low carb diet. I had these amazing results. And it's always, they got halfway there. They needed to lose 80 pounds. They lost 40. They needed to lose 60 pounds. They lost 30. They needed to lose 40 pounds. They lost 20. And they got entirely stuck and crashed their hormones on the low carb, zero carb diet. For
And I
men,
think that's what's happened to my husband too. I was just about to say, yeah, he is now eating more carbs. He had been eating so low carb and doing all this exercise and still had stubborn belly fat. He's now eating more carbs, and he's lost 10 or 15 pounds, losing that stubborn belly fat. And he's so much stronger. He's not working out that much differently. He's just now able to put on that muscle. It's been an incredible difference.
Yeah. Well, and so what we did there, and this is what I'm not going to be able to get two hands free here because I'm doing my walk, but I got to hold you back here. So imagine there's this game. The team that we're cheering for is your growth hormone. This is your fountain of youth. This is like your skin is more radiant and your hair is more lustrous and thicker. And, everything is good. We're burning fat. We're building muscle. We want the growth hormone team, the fountain of youth team, to absolutely crush it and score, 1,000 runs, 1,000 goals, 1,000 points, whatever we're scoring. We want all of this growth hormone. The other team, the bad guys, is your cortisol, right? It's your stress. And so when we go on that low carb, zero carb diet, yes, you can starve your way down halfway to your goals and get entirely stuck. And I've had women come to me, actually, and women that heard about me from you, and they're like, Chris, I've been, like 6 years totally carnivore, and there'll be this high fat carnivore where it's like everything is covered in butter. Well, all of that butter is just refueling and rehydrating the fat that you already do have. And then they're deathly afraid of carbohydrates. It's just, there's a way of doing it where what I want to say is those plates that you're eating now, the meals that you are having now, are probably keeping you stuck right where you are. Like what has been the change in your weight for the last 12 months? And unless you are distinctly trending right towards the way you want to look and feel, the body weight, the energy, unless you are trending right there, like you've done, and amazing, this last 3-month glow up that you've had, no one can argue with it. It's incredible, right? I can't do 3 push-ups to how many pull-ups or chin-ups did you do this weekend?
I did 5 pull-ups. I did 6 chin-ups.
Crazy.
I know.
That's so amazing, right? The orders of, and how many push-ups are you at now? Like over 20?
21.
Women, do you hear what she is saying? It's a level of health and fitness, and ultimately translates to real longevity.
It feels unreal.
It feels unreal. The pictures look unreal. You put the picture up of like, you seem kind of like an awkward teenager in like a 2-piece or something. And one gal was like, yeah, I saw that picture of, like, not my words, but she said pasty Ann. Like, okay. You see like tasty 16-year-old Ann, and then the photo next to her. Insane.
I was a cheerleader, by the way. That was like while I was cheering, I was getting plenty of exercise. And I mean, obviously my diet wasn't great. I was in high school, but like I said, since puberty, battled that stubborn belly fat and confidence since puberty.
Oh, and this happens to women, and to be honest, like at all stages of life. And there's this really sad moment when you get to like 50 or 60 where women will, admit to me like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just feel kind of invisible. And so some women, I think that happens earlier. You don't want to go through your life feeling invisible or like you don't matter and that you're not, squeezing the most joy out of every day of your life as possible. And so if there's one thing to do, it's naturally optimize your hormones, get truly strong. And what I was going to say there is that all the stuff that you're doing now is directly adding to your longevity.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and one of the reasons why I wanted this.
Lifespan. I say
Go
not
ahead.
just your lifespan, but your health span.
Yes.
Right. Like that you're going to be this grandma that's like down on the floor wrestling with the kids and throwing them in the air. And you're going to be the grandma that we trust that if like, Junior runs out the front door, you're going to get there before he gets in the street.
And that's
right?
exactly one of the reasons why I was like, I have to start this now, because I know too many people that during perimenopause and menopause, that's when everything starts falling apart. And I know that you can start this and you can do this during perimenopause and menopause, but starting before and going into that stage of life with this level of health and fitness is going to be life changing. It's going to be life giving. It's going to change that. I mean, I am confident that I can go into that stage of life and it's not going to wreck me. And I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I love this. You were maybe the first one that, I feel like I could have a client roster that was literally just stay at home or homeschool moms and their husbands. Dad's going out. He's working hard. He's supporting this family. And honestly, that guy usually needs a massive bump up in his natural testosterone because he wants to lead by example and he doesn't want to get on TRT. And that's really a path to nowhere anyway. Right. And so mom's at home. She's got all this, I have this one gal that I'm coaching now. Amazing. I used to tell, she's a homeschool mom, right? She's like, I used to tell my kids like, hey, I can read you a story. We can do this activity or I can make you lunch, but you got to pick one of the three because she just didn't have the energy to do all the right stuff, to do all the stuff. And so now she's like, yeah, Chris, now I make them lunch and I read the story and we do the activity and then we just never stop running around. It's like the amount of change in your children's lives. And I think, a lot of women, especially financially, will put their needs last.
Yeah.
And it's like, ladies, there's no man who has ever had his, where the wife worked with me and she glows up. Like, just imagine for your husband where it's like, for the first time, hopefully I tell the story right. Like, for the first time, your husband was like, hey, hon, your legs are looking pretty good, right? It just like melts you, right?
Yeah.
There's no man that wanted for his wife invest any amount of money for his wife to look her best, feel her best, be her best. Like the difference it makes in your life as a man to be able to be like, oh, and this is my wife, right? Oh, do you see the smiling, happy, confident, energetic one that's like so great with my kids? That's my wife, right? But women will say, oh no, I don't even know what little Danny needs braces. And by the time we got that, and the craziest thing I think is like parents that will like spend money on vacations where they just go and they can't take their shirt off at the pool because they got no confidence.
It's hard to prioritize yourself as a mom, I think, for sure. It can be hard to prioritize yourself, but it's kind of like on the airplane, how you got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can put it on the child, because if you're not doing great, you're not going to be able to help them. And I think a lot of that moms need to understand, it's not selfish to prioritize yourself and make sure you're in a healthy and balanced place for your family, for your husband and for your kids.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I actually had one, he's like kind of a famous dude actually, but this is like way back in the day when I was doing like in-person personal training in homes, right? So I would show up and I was working with this woman and the husband's like, dude, Kruger body, best money I ever spent. Because his wife got insane shape. And like, there's just something that's true. And maybe this is a hard truth, but like, if you're not attractive, there's a 0% chance that your spouse is attracted to you, right? Like that's maybe a really hard truth, but there's just attractive and not attractive. And so that doesn't mean that you're unloved or unappreciated or unwhatever, but it probably does mean that life is not where it could be for both partners in the relationship, right? Does that make sense?
Well, when you don't feel attractive, you don't feel confident and impact every part part of your life and your relationship, I think. We have
Yeah.
got several people asking for some practical starting points here. We've got people are screaming for it. Tell us what to do. Tell us what to do. Let's give them something to start on. So your meals are important. They're kind of varied based on your goals, but let's talk about, you said, 1 to 3 meals a day. And then the next thing that was huge for me, I think, was not snacking between meals, and why.
Okay. We do not snack between meals, and everyone should stop snacking. In fact, years ago, there was a friend of mine who was like really into marketing. He's like, Chris, you got to write a book. And I was like, well, what should I write a book about? And he's like, well, you're saying like, don't snack. And I was like, yeah, we'll write a book called Snacks Are for Fat People. Right. Also harsh, but the truth is, snacks are keeping you fat. They are reloading those fat cells full of energy. A fat cell full of energy looks like unwanted body fat, right? And so if we are going to have this supreme insulin sensitivity, right, the master hormone that you have to take care of, you have to tell it what to do. Insulin is responsible. It's either going to build your muscles or build your fat, but it's going to do it based on what you tell it to do. And so we got to get good at sending the right signals. And one of the signals we need to send is, we are okay to fast. That's going to restore your insulin sensitivity and dip you back into fat burning. And so we can't ride this blood sugar roller coaster of, oh, I get up in the morning and I'm starving. And so this also has to do with, your cortisol and your stress. But if you wake up and you're starving and you go right to eating that big bowl of cereal, and then later on at the office, you grab a bagel, and then you're going out for lunch, and then you got one more snack in the afternoon just to like make it through the day. Because you're just going up and down and up and down on this blood sugar roller coaster. And what you are totally doing is wearing out your insulin sensitivity. And so to be insulin sensitive, we need periods of fasting. And this doesn't mean something difficult. And I know, I used to lean into my little saying was like, feast, feast, fast. And people will get all hung up on the fasting and they think that's the hardest part. It's actually the easiest part because it comes after feast.
Yep.
When you are feasting and you are truly nourished. And that's why you said earlier, what's the first step? First step is get truly nourished. Trigger your GLP-1 where you're not stuffed. It's actually when you're done eating the right meal, your stomach, the GLP-1 is going out and telling your stomach to shrink back down as small as can be. Because your stomach, when you eat the right meals, should actually be empty. If you want to eat the wrong meals, and this could be, all you can eat breadsticks at Olive Garden or the Round Table Pizza Buffet or the, out here in Irvine, we go to the Chinese all you can eat place and we can argue over who's going to eat the last dumpling because we're so uncomfortably stuffed. When we eat the right meals and we trigger the GLP-1, our stomach is empty and we're no longer hungry. And then we can just say, okay, well, if I'm no longer hungry, I'm nourished.
Yep.
And so we move on with the rest of our day, and now you are fasting. And you're going to be able to fast all the way to the second meal. And when you eat that second meal, you're going to say, I don't even need the third meal. And so did we actually end up eating less? Well, yeah, probably we ended up eating, fewer calories or whatever, but it was because we went to it through joy and abundance, not through, I'm going to eat till I'm 80% full, or I'm going to count all my calories and track all my macros. And so we can give you all of the practice. It's feast, fast, and sleep. This is literally, you want all the value that we could possibly give you, beautiful people. I will scroll through the onboarding document. And so if any of you, if I ever open my coaching back up again and I take any more clients, because here's the thing, Ann, just a tangent real quick, is what happened. How many over the course of your glow up, like how many Instagram followers have you gained? I want to say it's over 50,000.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, somewhere in
How
there.
many are you at now?
I don't know, like 160 or something.
160. Yeah, I started, you were at 97 or something.
I don't know.
So people are, Ann doesn't want to brag, but in the 3 months, not only is she gone from 2 push-ups to 21 push-ups, she's gone from 97,000 followers to 160,000 followers. That is absolutely crushing it. And I just feel like, Ann, honestly, your content is so much better. You're so much better on camera. Your confidence is so much greater. The glow up is amazing. It's 360 degrees of your entire life. Amazing. And so what I was saying is, for your audience, yeah, it's almost unfair because I feel like you could send me 100 clients a week. Well, I'm only going to work with 100 clients at any given time. And so I have my other clients are trying to send me people, and then their friends can't get in. They're like, oh yeah, I told, my friend Shannon all about it, and she really wants to work with you, but your calendar's booked up for a whole month. That was the tangent. But in the onboarding call, people, to give you the functional stuff, is there are 2 sentences. I could recite them hopping on one leg with my eyes closed because I do this in every onboarding call. I say, this is where we're going to spend most of our time on this call, is really understanding these 2 sentences and how it's going to work in your life. And so the sentences are, every day We will beast, feast, fast, and sleep. Those things in that order to trigger the right hormones in the right amount to show our bodies that we live a joyous and abundant life. And so there's no stress or scarcity. There's no counting the calories. There's no tracking the macros. There's no counting all the steps. Oh, I got to do 10,000 steps a day, or I got to burn 500 calories on the treadmill, or I've got to, hit every muscle from every possible angle. Those are the two sentences that I can sit down and talk with a woman for 90 minutes just on her life and those two sentences. And that's how we iron everything out so that the individual gets to win the hormone game in their life. And so beast, right? If we want to let's make it real practical. And you've seen the 14-minute workouts. You've been doing them for 3 months.
I've been doing them for 3 months straight, 2 times a day, every day.
Beautiful. Total of 28 minutes on those workouts, but I only asked you to do it once a day. You're doing it twice a day. You're crushing it. And so, guys, real practical advice. Well, let's get to the point where we can do 2 minutes of jumping jacks. The 14 minutes. It starts out with 2 minutes of jumping jacks. And then there's 5 minutes of balance. I'm balancing. Balance and mobility, right? And then
Which
there's
is also
7.
huge for longevity. Every
Of
day
course.
doing balance and mobility is going to change your life. I'm so much more flexible and my balance is so much better, going to change your life.
You can do pistol squats.
I know.
Right? The test in physical therapy, right? My wife is a physical therapist. She's a stay-at-home homeschool mom now, but she's trained as a physical therapist. It's called sit to stand, right? If you are an older person, geriatric elderly person, and it is a struggle to wake up, get out of bed, walk to the bathroom, sit down, use the toilet, stand back up and walk. Like if you can't get back to bed without falling and breaking a hip or a wrist or hitting your head, your longevity is going to be very poor. Well, what is the highest level of sit to stand? It's actually a pistol squat.
One
You're
leg
going to do
is
it
sit to
all
stand.
the way. Yeah. On one leg, top to bottom, sit to stand, all by yourself.
And if you
Bouncing on one leg.
practice that every single day, you're not going to lose your ability to do it when you're 60, 70 years old.
Well, and then have such a reservoir, such an abundance of not you. How many pistols can you do now? These one-legged squats.
I think at least 5.
No, you're at like 9 or something.
I don't know.
No, you said 7 and 9 the other day.
I don't know. Need to work on it more. I've been sore because I've been doing the easy 8, so my legs have been sore.
Okay.
So I haven't counted lately. I got to do it this Sunday.
Right here in the wind with the phone. Can we see with the Earth Runners? Right, one pistol. Oh, Christopher. Oh no, Ann, I'm down. Okay, I need to warm up first. But yeah, if we're not holding the phone and we're not goofing around, we could just do pistol squat after pistol squat after pistol squat. And if you can do 20 in a row, like I think my best set ever was 36, 33.
Wow.
The thing is, like, it just takes so long. But if you're that strong,
and
you
you're
can just
42 years old.
42 years old.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
You're like the cheese ball in me wants to be like, I'm 42 years young. But yeah. 42, all natural dad, just living this high testosterone life and then helping people all over the world do the same thing so that we don't have to get on the silly drugs that don't help anyway, right? The drugs that are a path to nowhere.
I think we're close to out of time here and I don't want to go past. I know you've got a super busy schedule, but let's touch on just the last thing because we talked about beasting and feasting and fasting. So let's just touch on sleep real quick because those are the 4 pillars of Kruger body.
Okay, let me just tell you, beautiful people, the worst advice you ever get, well, number 1 would be drink alkaline water. That's total nonsense. Don't drink alkaline water. Oh, hey, I want to drink this alkaline water so it can base out my stomach acid and then I won't be able to digest anything. If you actually want to alkalize your blood, the way you do that is with breathing, not with drinking alkaline water. Oh, the pH is 12 pH water. Great, bro. It's the worst thing for you. So that's the worst fitness advice is drink alkaline water. Number 2 is that you should be sleeping 7 to 7.5 hours per night. Total baloney home. And so you do not want to be sleeping 7 or 7.5 hours a night because sleep does not come in hours, ladies and gentlemen. It comes in cycles. And so when we start to understand that the biggest dump of growth hormone, this fountain of youth, this fountain of radiance and what else do you say? Lustrousness, right? The fountain of youth that we're talking about here gets released every time we get one of these complete sleep cycles. And so your first sleep cycle of the night is 2 hours long. So we got to complete that one. But there's things we got to do before that sleep cycle to make sure that we're going to get the most out of it, the most growth hormone from that sleep cycle. And then after that, you got sleep cycles that are 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. And if you can have the right sleep habits, the right sleep routine before bed and when you wake up, is you can get a massive quantity of growth hormone just from regular sleeping. There is an amount of fasting that we want to do before bed. We like to switch into something called campfire mode for our melatonin. We want to be in story time for our brain waves. We want to get the most out of that first growth hormone, that first sleep cycle. And then we want to wake up in a way that's not so super stressful or that's sabotaging us immediately after we wake up. And so when we take care of our sleep and just realize the numbers, the math on this, it's not 7 or 7.5 hours. It's the worst amount of time to sleep. You can wake up if we got a 2-hour sleep cycle and then a 90-90-90, 4 sleep cycles. If we have 4 sleep cycles, that's 6.5 hours. You can wake up naturally after 6.5 hours and have a good day because that is a good night's sleep. Or if you have time for another 90 minutes to get the 5th sleep cycle, well, amazing, but now you got to sleep 8 plus. And so 6.5 is a right answer. 8 is a right answer. 6:45, 7, 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, those are all wrong answers. They just result in more stress and incomplete sleep cycle. And so now we can start planning your individual day around you getting either 6.5 hours or 8 hours. But under no circumstances should you drink alkaline water or try to sleep 7.5 hours.
You're cracking me up. All right, we've got the
All right.
beast, the feast, the fast, and the sleep, the 4 pillars of Kruger body. You have a
The
wait
core
list right
4.
now. Yeah, you're not taking clients right now, but that is where people can try to get started, start implementing some of these things. Are you going to let me know when you have client spots available? Can I be the first to know?
You can be the first to know. Here's what we could do, Anne, is every time I have like a spot or two open up, is I can let you know, but I almost don't think we should even ever blast it out on your Instagram. It's like they should have to go sign up and like get an email or something to know that it's actually happening.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, when you blast it out, it would only take one blast, and then I'd be like, literally from where my calendar is right now, you doing one blast would be like, I'm booked up through like January.
I
So
know. We actually had to clear some family time off your schedule for this live. So
yeah,
sorry.
sorry guys, we're not getting lunch today.
So I do
We're
I do need
booked.
to, yeah, I need to let you get back. But so you guys, if you want to be notified when Chris is able to take on clients, sign up for my email list. That link is in my profile. I can put it in the comments here, but it's not clickable. So check it out in my profile. I will send out an email when he's got a couple spots available, hopefully, and you guys will be I hope, only ones to know. So you get a chance at getting a spot. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments here, and Chris and I will do our best to answer them. Thank you so much for joining us today. Chris, thank you for carving out time in your super busy schedule to do this today. I'm glad you got your walk in and that you got to see your geese and your ducks.
Oh,
There's the
there it
pistol
is.
squat.
Oh, we got the pistol. I wasn't gonna get off the call without the Instagram live pistol.
Got it. Thank you for joining me, Chris. I think I've got my call with you on Thursday, so I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good, Ann. See ya.
Bye, guys.